And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. And to my left is none other than Rob Ambrose, our token lefty. And together, we look at what's trending in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to get along. And if we don't, guess what? We're capable of having an adult conversation, because never forget that common sense has no political affiliation. Like every Wednesday, Jason D from NY Varsity Sport is with us. I think we'd call him a friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Yeah, I've always liked that term. Anytime I hear people on the show say that,
he's a friend of the show.
Yes, a friend of the show.
So what's going on, motherfuckers?
Hey, good to be back. Good to be here on Wednesdays. It's a normal day. I promise to be on my best behavior because I see the way that your other guests behave. Jason, and in order for you to succeed, Jason must die or behave himself.
Well, that's my goal today. As we were saying before we went online, not only do I need to run the show, make sure the videos are going, make sure that everything's cool, we answer comments. Now I got to fucking manage 2 fucking children. So this is where we're at right now. I am a kindergarten teacher. Fucking deal with 2 children.
like you're herding
to manage this shit. Yeah, yep. But I gotta tell you, people, this is gonna be a great show because there's days where the news just keep on fucking giving and giving and giving. Yeah. And Rob and I were taught we always send each other a lot of text to figure out what we're going to talk about. And there's 5 things on the menu today. There could have been 10. Yeah. It's just that fucking crazy of a day. And it goes from extremely serious to absolutely hilarious and stupid. Jason, stop playing with your micro. Stop playing with your phone.
I'm trying to share the link with my people.
Jason,
put it aside.
Just watching porn.
I'm trying to share the link with my people,
bro. There's a volume.
You know what happens when I'm being taped, jerking off to porno? I look right at the camera,
guys. You're showing your age. Tape. Nobody tapes anymore. It's called recording, asshole.
All right, good. I got the link. I just wanted to share the link with my friends. On Facebook.
Appears to be the first wife beater day of the week of the year.
Yeah,
well, for
first
Nico.
Episode. It's the first episode that I'm actually being in my proper attire. This is normally what I wear. Fuck, man, that should be my nickname, Nico the douchebag Lagan. It actually has a ring to it. When I was fighting
the ring of
my
proof.
first coat, the first guy that put me in the ring years ago, he used to call me Meathead. That was my nickname for him because I was the asshole that, when you have new people showing up to the gym and they're trying to beat up on the newer guys, like they're experienced, but they want to feel strong. They're like, hey, Meathead, go teach them that they need to be respectful.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know, man.
I like it.
Yeah, I guess Enforcer would have been better, but Meathead actually makes sense. So before I get into the menu today, what we have on the menu, the topics we want to talk about, I want to ask you guys a question. I want to know what you guys think about what is Trump doing right now. Are you good with what you're doing? Are you happy with the way Trump is dealing with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, how he's dealing with Canada, how he's dealing with the US as a whole? Are you satisfied with how Trump is doing? Yes or no? I want to know, good or bad. We want to know. So make sure to send us some comments. Make sure to tell us how you feel about Trump. And please don't give me this shit that he's a fascist, he's a racist. We'll show your comment, but I'm going to call you out. I would love to have real comments. If you're going to complain, tell us why. If you like him, don't just suck his dick. Tell us why. Like, let's have an adult conversation, right? Because
why don't you take the lead there, Jason?
As to the, how is Trump doing? Is Trump doing a good job?
I guess, are we talking Ukraine as well as Gaza, and then just in general?
All right, and
that's the question. Hold on.
Yeah, that's
before I go, let's talk about what's on the menu, and then you can answer that question. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about, has Trump ended the war in Ukraine? we want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard and what she's going to do to revamp national security. I want to know what you guys think about Canada. Is it a security threat to the US? I want to give you guys an update on the Idaho woman that got kicked out of the Townhall meeting over the weekend. We talked about it yesterday. We're going to talk about it today because this shit is fucking sad. And then we're going to finish on a high note on something that's going to be fucking hilarious. But MSNBC has reacted to Rachel Maddow's comment about Joy Reid and her getting fired. This is, I made a video about this, and I know I shouldn't be laughing at this as a Christian. I shouldn't laugh at this, but I cannot help myself because finally the woke media is tasting their own medicine, and it's fucking hilarious. But the Christian side of me is like, oh no, but but you know what? Doesn't mean that I'm a Christian and I'm perfect, because I'm definitely not perfect. I'm fucking Jesus, so this shit's
the meek
hilarious.
shall inherit the earth, as Jesus said.
Oh, yep.
So I guess
so. Jason,
essentially.
What do you think, Jason? Do you think that Trump is doing a good job? Or hold on, are you satisfied? See, not good job, because are you satisfied about how
in
Trump
many
is
ways,
doing?
I'll lead the dance because I think it'll allow you guys to kick off on this. I think in terms of what Trump's intentions are, they said the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So there's always going to be some things that go wrong. There's always going to be some mistakes. So starting with the broader thing, the Ukraine war, which is the hot button topic, I always believe that you talk to your enemies, and I believe Biden at no time in the 3 or 4 year period has even talked to Vladimir Putin. We talked to Volodymyr Zelensky a bunch of times, and that's not how you end wars. That's how you continue wars. That's how you spend money on wars, and that's how lives are lost. And right now, the Ukrainians are rounding off to a kind of like millions, right? And I'll use the last 30 seconds by saying this. Enlisting the right people helps, right? Tulsi has a habit of talking to the enemy. She talked to Assad, and she was labeled an Assad toady because she talked to our enemies, where the solution to not rescuing people from Assad is bombing them. I mean, these people are just ridiculous. So getting people at the table and talking is a start. The intelligence agency is actually not threatened by intelligence. Gabbard, Trump, let's go. So I'll actually just land with that, and maybe we could just continue with the Ukraine. Yeah, right. But am I right though? Imagine that an intelligence agency threatened by actual intelligence. Well, by someone who's serving in the military, who's been labeled a Russian plant, no evidence. She's been vetted by the FBI, the CIA, and every intelligence agency 3 times over. Can't find a trace of Russian connections in this and that. And all they got, and I say that I mean the Democrats, I mean the DNC, not the liberals, but the DNC, all they got when you don't have an argument is to go to that. Before we got on the podcast, we were talking about all the things they were saying about RFK instead of what he's actually trying to do to make us healthier, right? So when you and this should be the hot button topic. Maybe this should be a subject matter behind Nico Lagan saying when they don't have facts ...
Yeah.
And I'll land with that.
What is that saying in the legal if the facts are on your side, argue the law. If the law's not on your side, argue the facts, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like it's become more clear lately, just sort of how the DNC and the Democratic Party operates. They've got this obviously very well-polished smear machine that they've been using very effectively over the past couple of years. And they've been able to launder these smears through the mainstream media. So it doesn't appear as if it's coming from the DNC or the Democratic Party, but clearly it is. And as a liberal, as a progressive, I've certainly... looking back, I can see how it worked on me. It's only the past couple of years that I found once I started to question things on gender, it sort of opened my eyes to a whole world of holes in left-wing or progressive thought, and sort of opened my eyes on that. To the point about Trump, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. It's hard to say, one of the things about Richard Nixon, when he went and opened up China, one of the things about him that he had this sort of, I forget, like the mad dog philosophy, right? He wants his enemies to think he's just insane, just this insane rabid dog, even though he wasn't, right? He was quite precise, and he was strategic in thinking. He just thought there was value in his enemies perceiving him as a lunatic, so to speak. I don't know. Maybe that's what Trump's doing. There does seem to be a method to the madness. I will say. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, tweeting out that thing, the video on Gaza. I assume we'll play that later. You know, bearded women in bikinis and gold Trump statues, and it's almost over the top. It makes you laugh, and maybe that's the point. That's what I mean. Is he just doing that to be a troll, to be a weirdo, or is this all part of some fucking six-dimensional chess that he's playing? It's time will tell. One thing we know for sure, like this Ukraine thing, it's the structure of a piece, right? It's the like what I didn't read in depth. I just sort of perused it, but it looks like he's essentially brokering a peace in return for 50% of Ukraine's minerals. I don't know if you saw that part, but 50% of
wild.
Yeah, Ukraine's, and I mean,
I got a long video on this. I got a video
okay, but at the end of the day, if you're an
on.
American, especially if you're like, you know, a centrist or on the right, that looks like a fucking win, man. Like, you end the war and you get half. Now, if you're a Ukrainian, it probably looks different, but Ukrainians aren't voting in the American elections, at least not legally. And so, you know, I mean,
in the first place?
What's that?
Do you see what all this was about? Do you see how it was showing a whole
Yeah,
lot?
yeah.
And stop.
Well,
I gotta
and maybe it was.
I'm
however,
pulling on the leash already. Keep the.
I mean, it was Putin that invaded, right?
Yeah, but NATO fucked up. Let's be honest here. NATO fucked up in the past. They opened the door for Putin to do what he did. Now, before we get into that, let's listen to the video. But
okay,
all I'm gonna say about Trump is that he's doing exactly what I thought he'd be doing. But the beautiful thing about the Trump administration, to me, JD Vance. I'm really liking this guy. I'm really, really enjoying the way he's so calm, collected, seems like a cool dude. He actually doesn't seem to be attacking the left at all. He's kind of positioning himself right in the middle, and he is the future of politics in the US. Like, if that guy continues with the coach that he found recently that's revamping his image, bravo. Like, this guy makes everything that Trump does palatable, if that makes any sense. I'm
he's
impressed
not a
with him.
Warrior. He's just speaking truth.
I just like the way that if I was in politics, I would try to be more like the way he is. Like, call the shit, be polite, but at the same time, try to open that conversation with the other side, even though they didn't vote for you, because they are still your countrymen. Love the way he's approaching it.
I like the guy.
Now, we already have fucking comments. Thank you. I love this shit. So, Oh My Lenta is saying, yes, very happy with the work Trump is doing. Plain, simple, straight to the point. Now, Canada first. NATO started it. Well, somebody that knows history. Well,
I mean, I feel like that's a gross oversimplification. There's a ton of nuance and complexity in that statement.
No, but there's no nuance in
there.
No, but hold on. There's no nuance in the fact that back at the beginning of the 90s, NATO made a deal with Gorbachev saying that countries like Belarus, countries like Ukraine would serve as a buffer zone so that we didn't have two standing armies staring at each other over one border. That was the deal they made in the 90s. It was NATO started going after those countries. So I'm not going to debate, was that all a plan? Is that all that Putin was waiting for? Is he right? Is he wrong? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just tired of mainstream media pointing the finger at Putin, saying that he's 100% responsible for this shit. No. NATO fucked up. They did something they said they wouldn't. Now, what happened afterwards, it is what it is. We can debate until we're blue in the face. But the point in the matter is that, as we've spoken about before, Trump is kind of that crazy portion that we never imagined would happen. What he's doing in Gaza, what he's now doing in Ukraine, something that was kind of a stalemate, like two situations that weren't evolving. He gets involved, he does what Trump does and fucking goes all overboard and says the craziest things. But finally, something's moving. Agree with it or not, he has kind of reopened, not the conversation, but at least something's happening. Like, the stalemates that we've had for a long time in both Ukraine and Gaza are finally starting to move. Love him, hate him, love the direction. Something's finally happening. It's no longer a stalemate. But before we go into detail, I just want let's play the video because it's a long one. I'll end up cutting it short, but it explains what's going on. It seemed to be unbipartisan. Like, it's as good as I could find but it was very in detail. So let's start this. We'll interrupt. If you guys want to interrupt, just start talking and I'll fucking cut it. But let's watch this.
Kyiv and Washington have reportedly agreed to the terms of a draft minerals and resources deal. The agreement could be signed as early as Friday, with plans for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to travel to the United States to meet with Donald Trump. The U.S. president has been demanding Ukraine give access to its rare earth minerals in what Trump calls payback for wartime aid provided by the U.S. under Joe Biden.
To that, I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me. And I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy, and it's a very big deal. Look, it could be $1 trillion deal. It could be whatever.
So up to now, it's hard to disagree with what Trump said up to now, that Biden has been throwing, I think we're upwards of $150 billion last time I checked. Like, I think it's even more than that.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about at least the first 45 seconds of this clip?
So what I was thinking is it occurs to me like how out of touch, Democratic elites are. I'm sure that they're going to go with this and be like, oh no, look at what he's robbing Ukraine, as if Americans give two shits. You know what I mean? Like, this is how they're going to look at it, unless you're an extreme far lefty or, you have some sort of dog in the fight, like you are Ukrainian or something. They're going to say, okay, we've got this situation that was a military stalemate. It was a financial sinkhole. It was just a black hole that we were putting billions of dollars around. Donald Trump went in there and in 1 week, he turned it into a situation where the war's ended. We're not sending any money there, and money's coming back here. They're not going to give a shit about if it's fair to the Ukrainians. It's funny they talk about Zelensky coming. It's going to be a pretty different vibe, than his last few
from
visits.
last time.
Yeah.
Imagine Trump not telling him Putin's coming at the same time, and Zelensky just
Shit. Oh yeah,
Do you know he would do that?
Out.
You know that's
here, by the way. You want to come on and say hi?
Putin would be like.
The only difference is that if you know anything about Putin, he's a Sambo champion. Like, that guy can fucking fight. So that would be a very interesting thing to see Zelensky, the little belly dancer, try to insult, get judo thrown on his head, and Putin continues smoking.
It would be the
cigar,
best
like
comedy
nothing happened.
Zelensky has ever done in his life. He's a comedian, all right? He's a stand-up comedian and a clown, but the best comedy, the best satire he would ever do in his life is get into a no rules physical brawl with a guy with a dad bod that can fuck you up, So, Rob, was this something before I go? Was there something you wanted to add to that?
No, I'm
because your tail end really.
That was it.
No, but something Rob said at the end about the minerals and about our investment. If there's look, I'm not a Trump guy, and half the time I wish he'd stay out of the social stuff because he sounds like a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But something he always does is take everything a military intelligence or intel or the Pentagon doesn't want you to know and just says it out front. We want the minerals. By your own admission, Russia invaded, right? And when Russia invaded, we were willing to commit $60 billion, $70 billion, $80 billion, $100 billion, $120 billion. Some say up to $150 billion. Nico will probably say I'm being conservative on that.
$175 billion.
Nico might be right. Sorry, go ahead, Nico.
As per the Council on Foreign Relations, Congress has
how much we
passed
talking
5
about?
bills about $175 billion in response to Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine.
Wow. Right. So for anybody asking themselves, why do we care about this small country that was, for its size, labeled one of the most corrupt countries in the world? For a tiny country like that, that's saying a lot. Why do we care about guys who are actually wearing Waffen SS swastika tattoos? Why do we care about this country? We cared about this country. We use Russia as a head fake because everything has been about Russia. Russia's our enemy. Russia interfered in our election. They didn't. Russia, has military bases surrounding the United States. They don't, right? So, but we make this about Russia, but at the end of the day, this was about American interests. And the American military intelligence was willing to sacrifice the lives of almost 1 million Ukrainians to get what they want out of this. They don't care about these people.
No.
In fact, the Congress people said this is money well spent because we don't have to send soldiers to weaken Russia. So by their own admission, they're using the Ukrainians as cannon fodder, right? To supposedly weaken Russia. But at the end, what we didn't know, where Trump does a very good job at showing everyone's whole ass, if not his own, has shown us what this is really about.
Yeah, there's something refreshing about it. I don't know, just to be like, you've got everyone else like the Biden admin tap dancing. Oh, it's about democracy and saying all these things that we know it's not. And Trump just been like, nah, it's about the minerals. Like, it's about the minerals.
Well, 2014 was a hell of a year. Look at the comment section, right?
Yeah.
The comment section says Ukraine offered the minerals before Trump.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I don't want to talk too much, but I want to finish by saying, guys, 2014 was a hell of a year.
Yeah,
True.
that's right. And you can make that, you can make the argument that, Trump's taking advantage of Ukraine, and maybe that's right. At the end of the day, though, like the significant assistance and finances and money was given to, in defense of their country. That, that's not going to come without strings attached. It just isn't. And there's always comes time to pay the piper, and that's true whether it's your interpersonal relationships. You borrow $50 from your friend. At some point, you're going to have to pay that back. Same thing's going on here.
Yeah, and though this has happened before Trump is the first one to mention this.
Yeah.
He
doesn't care. That's one thing's for sure. He doesn't care. He's going to say it out loud because he don't care.
4 years ago.
Yep.
No, definitely not.
So before the pens are drawn and the deal is done, let's take a look at exactly what we know about these mineral resources that suddenly seem so central to the future of Ukraine.
Fighting near a Ukrainian village on the front lines last year. Tank battles raged above ground that geologists estimate holds hundreds of millions of dollars of lithium. That's just one of the resources that Ukraine has significant deposits of. There are also deposits of graphite, titanium, zirconium, and rare earth metals spread across Ukraine. Some in the areas controlled by Russia, but much in the territory Ukraine itself still controls. Potentially worth more than $10 trillion, making Ukraine potentially a very rich country. The White House sent the Treasury Secretary to Ukraine to sign a deal. An alleged leaked draft said the U.S. would get half the money Ukraine earns from mining, as well as oil and gas resources, ports, and other infrastructure.
Can you just pause that for one quick sec, Nico?
Yep.
I just want to say, just for people that might be criticizing this as if it's unfair for Ukraine, remember, they're still getting 50% of the wealth, and 50% of $1 trillion or 500 billion is a whole lot more than 100% of nothing, which is what they've got before. So you got to factor that in too.
Yeah. It's the only deal they're going to get. Yeah.
The only thing that we need to be careful is I've been trying to think about it this morning because I cannot remember what the term is called, but there was an old CIA agent that actually wrote a book about this. And for YouTube purposes, this is entertainment only. I do not believe what I'm saying. I'm full of shit. This is not real. This is satire. There was a guy, an old CIA agent, that was explaining how that was a method that the U.S. has used for years, especially in South America. They would go down there. They would actually take a country that's war-torn, and they would offer them money in exchange for natural resources. So I have to look into. I've been trying to figure out who it was.
I mean, that sounds pretty. That sounds exactly like how I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and like, let's not lie to each other here. They talked about trillions, not millions, not billions, trillions in natural resources that they're going to get half of it. And that the U.S. is very good at rebuilding countries. Like, let's not lie to each other here.
Yeah.
Well, they've had a lot of practice for sure.
Exactly. So, and we're talking lithium. This is batteries. This is car batteries. This is technology that can be used that right now, if I'm not mistaken, most of the lithium are owned by China. They're actually opening up a door where they have real political power backed by natural resources that they don't need to buy from China. So it's fucking clever. Love it.
5 years from now, the Ukrainians are looking back and saying, "Thank God for Trump." You know, it could very well happen.
Yeah. And they went out of their way.
The Trump deal has
to make sure. Oh, sorry, they went out of their way to make sure Russia didn't get that, right?
Yeah.
Like the little proxy war we have with Russia, we tried to do economic sanctions. Turned out that didn't work. Turned out that's self-sufficient. This is in the 90s. They blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, which for YouTube purposes, we have to say Russia blew up their own pipeline. So we'll say that with a constitutional wink. But this is a victory for America, and this is as much of a loss for Russia as we're going to get right now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Outside of having American boots on the ground, which is ensued to a nuclear holocaust.
To be honest, I think once Trump got in, this was the best outcome Zelensky could have hoped for. I was actually expecting it to be much worse. I was expecting Trump to say, just agree, you know, you're going to agree with whatever Putin says, or we cut you off completely. And at least they got something for it.
This is in the works. 2014. This has been in the works since then, since our military coup on their leader.
And if you look here, they say that the biggest reserve or the biggest mines of lithium in the world, Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and China, with China being the largest consumer of lithium and produces more than 2/3 of the world's lithium ion batteries. So this is what I'm saying, 2/3. Now you got the US. Not technically, if you look at what Trump is doing, it's fucking brilliant. Like, love it, hate it, for the Americans to gain control to those type of mines that they did not have access to, is basically lifting their middle finger to China, saying "fuck."
Yeah, you're right. And if you sort of zoom out and look big picture, you can start to see a trend appear. Even in things that sort of seem like it was just Trump being his old kooky self, like the Greenland thing, which I believe he's serious about. The Canada as a 51st state thing, which I don't think is going to happen, but I believe he's serious about. It seems like he's on some global shopping trip for natural resources, right? Minerals. Rare.
But you got to know when he's trolling.
You don't think the Greenland thing is?
Hell no. Canada being the 51st state. No,
I think he's serious. I don't know.
That's a troll, dude.
I don't think it's going to happen.
He's trolling too. I think he's
it's gonna
trolling
happen.
too. But can you only imagine if he controls half of the natural resources in Ukraine, gets access to Greenland, and get access to Canada? We probably are sitting on the largest amount of natural resources that are untapped. We have the third biggest oil and gas reserve in the world that is literally going to waste because we're still buying a lot of our oil and gas from
Saudi Arabia,
other countries like Saudi Arabia. We don't even refine our own. We ship it to the US so that they sell it back to us. We have the third, as we speak right now, we have the third biggest hydroelectricity plants in the world, yet we are not a superpower when it comes to energy. It makes no sense. And I understand, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm hoping that Canadians are going to fucking understand that we have such untapped natural resources that we could be probably top 3 to top 5 in the world when it comes to energy.
And
but because we have such weak leaders, that it is not happening. Because, you know, for years I created content for Americans saying, hey guys, if you continue voting for clowns like Joe Biden, like Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, you're going to end up like Canada. Now my content is completely switching, and I'm looking at Canadians. I'm like, hey assholes, do you see under proper leadership what our country could be? Because love Trump or hate him, imagine if we had a guy like Trump that would start looking at our natural resources and say, fucking drill. Let's do all the investment possible to keep that fucking energy right here to build our middle class with some of the best jobs that has been destroyed over the past years. And let's become top 5 superpower in energy in the world. Which retard would say, oh, that's not a good plan?
You need to apologize to retards, because even they can see that. Okay, Nico, in California right now, we have more oil in California than the Saudis do. And you guys You alluded to something where we're drilling. We are drilling, but the problem is we're selling it to India and we're selling it to other people only for them to sell it back to us 60 cents on the dollar, right? Where we're buying our own product for a higher price. So when you hear like these Republicans and from our Democrat friends that call them Republican space rangers, drill, baby, drill. That's kind of, so some of them are dumb, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But the ones that do know what they're talking about are saying that our resources are here. Stop selling them to other countries like India right now is selling oil back to us.
Yeah,
and we all know they're not selling it back to us at the same price. They gotta there has to be something
Neither quality
that is going to be,
that shit's been diluted. Let's not lie to each other.
But what a lot of people don't know, there's more oil. And I spoke to some spook this morning. He said and I believe him, there's just as much, if not more oil here, and just in California. I ain't even talking about Texas or anywhere else. Solar panels. We have miles of inland. If you've ever driven across the country, we have solar. Elon Musk said 100 square miles of solar panels, just 100 square miles can power the United States of America. And I don't give a fuck if someone thinks that guy's a genius or just smart or this or that. That's believable. I do believe that.
But even more than that, if you understand how solar panels work, because I used to live in the middle of the woods, and that was the next step. If I was staying there, I was putting solar panels on my roof, and I would have been 100% self-sufficient because we had a well and we can hunt all we want where I'm from. The thing is, though, the problem with solar panels is battery technology. You need to be able to store that energy because obviously when it's not sunny outside, you're not producing energy. And when it's at night, you can't either. You just need to make sure that you have battery technology that recharges off of that solar energy, and then you can disperse that through your home. And one of the things that people, but hold on, that's the thing. People think that Tesla was a car company. It's not. They developed battery technology. If you looked, one of the reasons why Tesla moved from California to Texas is because they are working on some battery technology that could store the power needed to run states. Because remember what happened in Texas not too long ago? Their power grid went down and everybody's fucking freaking out.
Ted Cruz was like, I'm out of here, bitches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
so this is the thing. Love Elon Musk or not, his companies are working on technology that would allow to store that much energy. If you're talking about battery technology, and do you think it's a coincidence that we're talking about lithium mines in Ukraine? Of course not. If I can think of this, imagine what brilliant people can think of, right?
Yeah. Syria had a high percentage of it too. And look what happened to Syria.
Should we continue because we're like 2 minutes in? And
let's see where it goes. Let's see if it has legs.
It's been compared to the Treaty of Versailles imposed on Germany after it lost World War I, which forced Germany to pay what would now be hundreds of billions of dollars in reparations. Are they talking about Trump's deal
here?
Yep.
The amount Ukraine would end up paying is far greater in adjusted terms, despite the fact that Russia is the aggressor in the current war. The Trump team sees minerals as compensation for past and possible future aid. Ukraine sees its mineral wealth as its path forward to rebuilding after the war eventually ends.
Makes sense.
Ukraine can't afford to alienate the U.S. and lose its backing, but fears that without security guarantees against further Russian aggression, it might get nothing in return for signing away its wealth.
Correct.
Let's bring in a DW correspondent.
Yeah, I mean, just like first of all, compared to the Treaty of Versailles is insane.
It's not though. It's not. You got to be careful.
Versailles was extremely punitive and meant to be punitive on Germany.
Agreed, but in principle, they're basically saying, and they're two different things, right? Germany fucking tried to attack everybody else. They destroyed a bunch of shit outside their country, so they had to repay. That's Versailles. But we need to be careful that the reason a guy like Hitler raised to power is because of that treaty, because Germany became so poor that a guy like him said, this is the problem, we need to fix it. Agree with him or not, that's still what happened. It gave place to a guy like him to rise. Sorry. So as they were just saying right now, they got to be careful that they're not left with nothing, that they're not getting advantage of, because now we could see the same thing. And as Jason mentioned earlier, let's not lie to each other here. There's a lot of fucking Nazis left in Germany, and a lot of them are in fucking politics right now. Zelensky.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. Like any deal.
Canada would know. y'all gave one. The Canadian Parliament gave a Nazi standing ovation for fucking 6 minutes, dude. I mean, a roaring one. I mean, people were in tears.
Bravo.
Tears.
Bravo.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, Nico, to your point, I mean, yeah, like for sure, you want to make sure that Ukraine's getting something out of it, because yeah, like first, I think a lot of World War II historians believe that 1 and 2 were actually the same conflict, just with a a 30-year break
extended.
In between, precisely because of that. Versailles laid the siege for World War II. This doesn't, to me, seem to be the same thing, because it isn't necessarily punitive. It is, of course, there's a cost associated with it, but there's also, included in that, the Americans are going to be the ones to develop it. That's multi-dozens of billions of dollars investment that Ukraine just right now does not have to invest, because it all went into the pockets of Zelensky's cronies, right? I'm sure they could pool their resources, maybe look behind the sofa cushions and get enough money to develop Ukraine's mineral wealth, but for some reason, I suspect they're not going to do that. So, I mean, America is going to be the ones developing this. We're going to be the ones putting the money in. Of course, there's going to be a cost associated with that. Just like, of course, there's a cost associated with $50 billion in aid. America is not doing that out of the goodness of their heart, nor should they. Every country has to look. I feel like there's a tendency to look at global politics in the prism of good guys and bad guys and enemies and this, but it isn't that. It is every country has interests. And every country is right to pursue their interests. Now, there is a right and a wrong way to go about doing that. I don't see this as necessarily a wrong way. Ukraine is going to be well compensated. They're going to be wealthier for it. And, all they're essentially doing is allowing Americans to come in build infrastructure to get minerals out of the ground that the Ukrainians are either not doing right now or don't have the ability to do right now. Mm-hmm. And that's it. They're going to get 50% of everything they get. It could have a million trillion dollars worth of minerals in the ground, but if you can't get it out, it's worth nothing.
And not only that, but they're just going to show up. But they've done that. They've been doing that forever. The U.S., the U.S. is going to show up with a plan. They know exactly what the fuck they're going to do. There's no years of
Ukraine
planning.
Won't have to do a thing.
Oh no, Ukraine will sit back and fucking swing.
And it'll be the first time in the history of that country they're celebrated as heroes, right? I mean, John Stewart already pinned a medal on a Nazi. in fact, here's the picture.
I remember.
Right here.
What's the story behind that?
Well, there was a soldier that came that was injured and he was invited to the United States. And Jon Stewart found out and said, hey, come to the Daily Show or whatever, invited him to a talk show, showed him the town. And eventually, like in this emotional moment, pinned a medal on him for his heroism, right? Now, if you look at the guy's left arm, right, that looks like an injury bandage, right? I'm going to close in on you. That looks like an injury bandage. But here's a picture of what it really is.
He was covering his Nazi sign that he has tattooed on his fucking arm.
Does that look like an injury to you, or does that look like a Waffen SS tattoo?
That's too funny.
And look, and everybody keeps first. Listen, I didn't like the denialism, because this is what happens with Democrats and Republicans. First, they're saying I'm lying, I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? And then when I prove there are Nazis, then they're like, no, it's just the itty bitty crowd, right? It's just a small whatever. Then when you tell them there's 2,600 people in a fucking battalion, then it's like whatever. I don't want to talk.
Agoff or something. Yeah.
Well, listen, this is what happened. Biden, whatever you may think of Biden, he used the last two marbles he used the last two marbles in his head, rolling around in his head, and actually got everyone to the table in 2022 and brokered a deal, not a Trump deal, but a Biden deal, right? Brokered a deal that Russia agreed to, that Zelensky agreed to, and everybody was all set. And
What happened to it?
Well, three things happened. Boris Johnson came in and said, if you take this deal, UK is withdrawing their support, and you'll never be part of NATO, which they were never going to be part of NATO.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. The second thing that happened, the Azov battalion threatened Zelensky's life. They said they would hang him in the middle of the street. And the third thing that happened was Congress went to Biden and was like, no, this is, behind closed doors, they were saying, no, we can't take this deal. So Biden, I don't know if he forgot he did this deal. I mean, that'd be pretty easy to assume he did, but you know what, whatever we may think of him, let's, Nico, we are about facts and about historical context. He's the one that actually brokered that deal. And this is 2022. You'll see it. It's the Minsk Accord 6, because there were like five or four different accords, but this is one where everybody's like, Putin was like, cool. And Zelensky was like, you know what? I ran on this platform. Zelensky ran on the platform of making peace with Russia. That's how he got democratically elected.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And I think it's funny, like you say, in all these, these Nazis that keep showing up again and again. Again, it was a conspiracy theory, but it sort of goes to my point about we need to stop looking at this through the eyes of there's good guys and bad guys, because that part of the world, you can think the guy is the greatest thing in sliced bread. Probably don't go through his private files. Probably don't look at the tattoos he's got covered up, because you're going to see some things, or there's a high chance you're going to see some things that you don't like. So just look at it through interest. Is this in our interest or not? Fuck off with the good guys, bad guys, because the world, especially that part of the world, is so much. It's not
a moral arena. I keep telling everyone, but it's not a moral arena. It's a political one.
But Americans also need to remember that Operation Paperclip, where they took the brightest minds of Germany after the Second World War. They told them, come to the US with all your medical research and all your technology that you've developed.
Rocketry technology.
John, the person that started NASA was von Braun, the guy that designed the V2 rocket, a massive fucking Nazi.
Well, they wouldn't have got to the moon. I mean, that I know you want to debate that whether they got there at all, but let's just assume for the sake of argument that they did. Yeah, I believe they did.
Can I summarize a paperclip for everybody, for everyone watching, because they might not know? I have it written here.
Cool.
Operation Paperclip was a secret U.S. intelligence program that recruited German scientists and engineers to work for the U.S. government after World War II, and the goal was to gain expertise in rocketry, missiles, and biological warfare to help the USA during the Cold War.
And they weren't worried about guys and bad guys.
New polygraph fans gotta bring them up.
Yeah. So as you guys said, good, bad. There's bad everywhere. There's good everywhere. And unfortunately, as Jason mentioned, the way to hell is normally paved by good intentions. So, oh no, we should.
So I mean, and that greatly helped America, through all sorts of fields. So you can't look at this through the eyes of a child, where it's things are black and white and there's good and bad. There's interests. There's things that are for your interest and things that are against it, and that's really it. Especially
and America decided that, Nico. America decided when they voted for Trump, they weren't voting for a moral arena, except for crazy 100%. Evangelical Christians that think that an adulterous murderer is ordained by Jesus, right? So no, Trump voters are not a monolith, right? That they look. I'm just going to come up front with my bias. All right, I am upset Trump won. But I couldn't be more fucking happier that Kamala Harris lost.
That's exactly what
that is a huge.
Yeah.
Do you understand? This is a swath of the American population that have 100%. That no one wants to talk about. They don't want to hear from us. You know why? We're gonna fuck up 2028.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
On social media, I have friends posting as much as 19 times a day. Anti-Trump with Trump gotcha moment. See, told you this is what you voted for. That's what you voted for. And I'm like, do you think that's gonna fucking help you in how do you think that's gonna help you in 2028? Get a candidate that could fucking do 20 push-ups and doesn't wear a wig and a fucking beard. All right, because right now Vance. Remember we talked about Vance a couple of episodes ago.
Earlier today.
Who's gonna stop that guy?
I like if
Nobody.
I were American, I would not have voted for Trump. I just wouldn't have. Certainly wouldn't have voted for Kamala. I would have sat it out.
No, she
Even
wasn't
though I'm a liberal and
democratically
lefty,
elected.
if the left does not pull its head out of his ass by 2028, I would vote for Vance. I just like the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I just
But
like.
It'll be a
And,
bigger
you know-
landslide. It'll be a bigger lot as far as lopsided victories.
Oh,
we might
fuck
be looking at Walter Mondale and Ronald Reagan all over.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I'm thinking
They
that
don't
too.
have anyone.
The new
But
day
you
in
know
America.
what? If you got guys like JD Vance that continue doing what he's doing right now, and you got women like the clip I'm just gonna show you right now, Democrats will have
Is this
no
at Townhall in
fucking
Idaho?
chance in hell. Oh no, that we're finishing with that.
Okay.
Right now, I want to go to Tulsi Gabbard and her idea of revamping national security. Something like Jason said earlier. How interesting that somebody intelligent is trying to put intelligence back in national security.
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust. What to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is we got to take a step back because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really horrific behavior. And they were brazen in doing this because when was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Certainly not over the last 4 years, certainly not over the last 10, maybe 20 years. When we look at some of the biggest violations of the American people's trust in the intelligence community. So today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration, which is carrying out the mandate the American people gave him. Clean house, root out that rot and corruption and weaponization and politicization, so we can start to rebuild that trust in these institutions that are charged with an important mission of serving the American people, ensuring our safety, security, and freedom.
Just for a
Feel
bit of
the way
context,
you want to feel about
Nico.
No, but is she ever well fucking spoken?
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
no matter what, that was a one take, no hesitation.
I know.
no
I need to learn
nothing.
from her. Fuck,
I'm gonna need 2 minutes.
I'll rewatch
for this
these
one, but I'll go
shows.
last. I'm gonna need.
It's- but-
I'm gonna need 2 minutes for this one, not one. But I'll go last.
The context is easy. She's been put as the leader for national intelligence, and she is tired of seeing hundreds and hundreds of officials using their internal communication services to talk about dumb shit like the LGBTQ agenda.
Well,
Like
that's-
it's
yes,
absolutely insane. Like there's sex scandals
if
going
you read
on
the
in those
actual transcript
communication.
from that chat, it's a specific group within the NSA. It was about 100 people that were, trans identified members, and that's fine. Whatever you want to do in your private life is free, but they were bringing it to work. And the problem was the conversations, it was real fucking, talking about like the butt plugs that they're using and just the disgusting sex acts that they're doing, and just filthy stuff that anyone else would have been fired for immediately, just on basic professionalism, sexual harassment, because this chat room is open to everyone that can see it. How uncomfortable are you going to be when you see this? But the problem is, and this, Jason, this is why we were sort of pushing back a little bit yesterday when you were saying is, what the issue is, what people are sick of is a special privileges or a group of people who are being treated differently because they are trans. They're a sacred caste now, a sacred caste of men who cannot be held accountable, who cannot be punished. And the end result of that is these men are going around and just at the workplace, no less, talking about the most disgusting, sexually explicit things. I'm sure it was making everyone else there uncomfortable, but no one can say anything because they're trans, and the trans get to do whatever they want. And that's what she says. I sent Gabbard yesterday. or at least that's the impression that some people have. But Gabbard yesterday said they're all going to be fired. She said she removed their security clearance, and they're going to put in to fire them by the end of the week. So I mean, certainly there's some accountability now.
It's all about treating people, whoever they are, color, gender, sex, whatever the fuck you want to call it, equally. That's it, plain and simple. And they do not deserve a free pass because of their sexual orientation. They don't. They really don't. And at the end of the day, whatever you do at home, I'll disagree with it, I'll agree with it, don't matter. It's not up to me. What you do at home does not impact my life. As long as you leave the children out of this, I don't give a fuck what you do at home. But at the workplace, there is no way in hell that I could have went to work and start talking about my masturbation practices or what I do on the weekends when I fuck dudes in the ass, right? Can't do that.
Yeah, just leave that in the private WhatsApp chat, like you do.
Damn,
Nico,
do I have to take it from there? Do I go next after that shit?
Yeah. You literally need to go after that shit. Yes. Go ahead, brother.
Look, the last time I did an episode with you guys, I had to I pretty much emptied this whole bottle, mixed it with some Diet Pepsi and drank it like a metrosexual. All right.
So you are the one getting it up the ass then.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's just one dick.
If it's only one, it's fine. We've established that.
You. Jesus.
We did.
One dick makes you gay. So look. All right, since we left this way, I'd like to start in a satirical way where if someone's ever videotaping me masturbating, I would be disappointed because if I knew it, I'd look right at the camera and do it at the same time. So, you know, I mean, I'm one of those guys that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to come with that same energy. All right.
That's actually a very good choice of words.
I'd look down, I would just find the camera and I'd look right at you and beat my dick.
Dude, I'm uncomfortable right now.
Hi, Mom. Mom Ambrose is like, what are you?
Hi, Jody.
Got the weirdest boner.
Yeah. So, yeah, shit, they're like, I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, I'm ashamed, I'm appalled, I'm jealous. All right.
You're not.
So, in regards to the whole sex thing, let's call it what it is, right? First, they said it's not happening. And then when they say it is happening, it's only 100 people. So here we go, moving the political goalpost for sexual reasons. And when that happens, we all know it's because we all know that there's something else that they're hiding, that they would rather have the sex thing make the news than what the hell is really going on behind closed doors in the intel community, right? Nico, what I said before was imagine an intelligence agency threatened by intelligence. And you were very, very close, but we're both saying the same thing, and I appreciate you echoing my sentiment. But the one thing I got from what Gabbard said was there hasn't been accountability for as much as 20 years. So when you use the number 20 years, you know she's not coming from a partisan perspective. That's right. If you're talking 2004 to 2020, you're talking George H.W. Bush, you're talking Barack Obama, you're talking Donald Trump, right? You're talking Joe Biden, and now we're talking Trump again. And again, I really love this pick, and I'm glad she's there because she has a pattern of running towards the problem instead of away from it, right? When she didn't like what was happening in Hawaii, she ran for Congress. When 9/11 happened, she enlisted in the military, right? When Hawaii had a fake nuclear bomb scare,
remember that,
right? She ended up, she left Congress or left the DNC chair and ran for president. She is a highly principled woman. And the reason why she's with the Republican Party is when she left the vice chair to endorse Bernie Sanders, they threw her out and left her hanging out to dry. And here she is calling Trump an existential threat, calling Trump a pimp. And Trump was the one that came to her for the intel position. So, and this is why I think it's a good pick. You know, between her and Kash Patel, you're going to find some partisan perspective. But when it comes to the job, the first thing they say is, look, I'm not here to do your bidding. You know, I'm here to do the job. Ladies and gentlemen, I could talk forever, but I'll land on that. That is Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Sorry, Nico, how many Republicans, when she ran for president, look at your comment section. How many Republicans are like, dude, I never voted Democrat in my life, but I will vote for that woman. The comment section blew up when she knocked Kamala Harris the fuck out in that debate in 2019, calling her, I guess a jailer. You know, did you ever see that video?
mass
Tulsi knocks her
incarcerator.
the-
Yeah, as a when she was a prosecutor. Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
She blocked
But-
evidence. I'm
man,
not going to spin
but-
off that, but go ahead.
But it's not just her. It's really, you look at Gabbard, you look at Kash Patel, you look at RFK, you look at what Elon Musk is doing. Like it's fucking insane to believe that we're 5 weeks in. We're
The Democrats
5
got
weeks in, bro.
The
5
Democrats
weeks
got
in.
fucked. They lost Gabbard, Elon, who voted for Biden in 2020.
Yeah, they're all Dems, right?
RFK, and
Elon,
they ended up getting the
RFK.
Cheney, Dick and Liz Cheney, who got fucked on that deal, guys. I mean, I'm supposed to be a leftist, man. I'm not.
I know.
I'm voting for Kamala for moral reasons, but you got the Cheneys. How you gonna have Mr. fucking Halliburton, right?
Yeah.
And if you ran on abortion, how you gonna have Liz Cheney?
Yeah.
It's
Shut
man,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
the next everything that's been happening is all the best setup. They're literally, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Everything they're doing right now, they're setting up a perfect pass into the end zone for JD Vance to just pick it up, rip his shirt off, and let's fucking do this.
Reagan
It's everything that's happening right now. They're setting it up to be probably the biggest fucking landslide win in 2028.
I want to see that man.
Like,
titties, though.
it's gonna be an ass raping. Sorry, Jody.
Well, I mean,
I want to see no man titties. I go to you, Rob. He ain't ripping off his shirt.
Listen,
the military was a long time ago. Putin probably looked better with his shirt off than Vance does. So fuck that. Give me some.
Anything else? Do you have something to add to this, Rob?
yeah, I was just gonna quickly say, everything they're doing, like the thing is politics in general and the Democrats specifically just got so fucking far from any sort of common sense. They just left a huge opening for someone to come in and say, you know what, why don't we just pick all this low-hanging fruit instead of climbing to the very fucking top and trying to get that. And that's essentially what it feels like they're doing. If you look at, like, if you subtract the personalities and, the rhetoric or that Trump says, the actual things they're doing are broadly popular. Cutting back on corruption. Yeah, you may not agree with everything that they're doing, but that's the plan. They're trying to cut back on corruption, ending wars, ending the Ukraine war, coming up with a solution in Israel, Gaza. You may not like these things, but they are things that are being done in a way that it seems like the American, I guess, government, because it stretches back several presidents, has just been sort of treading water for the last, 10 or 15 years, not really trying to do anything, just existing in space. And Trump came in, and it's very clear they had a plan, and they're executing on that plan. And whether you agree with it or not, or quibble with it, that's got a lot of appeal to a lot of people, because they just find it refreshing to see a politician going in there and fucking getting shit done, saying they were going to do something and then just actually doing it. And, I think so far they've executed very well. Nothing they've really done is in the culture. He's not out there trying to ban abortion or there's nothing really culture wars that I can see. Everything's just bread and butter, meat and potato issues that everybody cares about.
Yeah, don't act like latte liberals care about abortion, right? I mean, Judge Kavanaugh, the deciding vote was Manchin, right? Judge Kavanaugh,
that's
the
right.
deciding vote was Manchin. That's
Was it? I thought it was Collins.
No, Manchin. Joe Manchin.
Okay.
He's a Democrat. Collins is.
That's right. Collins was a yes for sure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to share something because I'm always looking at what's going on as we're speaking here.
Yep.
And I can hear this news is kind of me learning that the pink Power Ranger that I grew up looking at was dead. This is out of the blue, but guys, like this is breaking news right now. I'm just talking about it because it's her. And no, not the pink. I'm saying it's kind of. This is actually how many guys have fantasized about this woman right here, and it turns out that she just died.
What? I love that girl.
Yeah, she just died at 39 years old. This is a completely fucking swap. But how many men have fantasized to her because of
Classic Girl Next Door look about her?
Fucking love that movie.
No.
What was the name?
Are you talking about Eurotrip?
Eurotrip.
Yeah. What was the name of the song?
Scotty doesn't.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't
Yeah,
know.
and
Scotty
food
doesn't
in
know.
her
Scotty
bed
doesn't
every
know.
Sunday. They say she's at church, but she don't go. But don't tell Scotty, because Scotty doesn't know.
Tells them she's in
Man.
church, but she's on her knees.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Matt
bro, I just
Damon,
thought
best cameo.
Yeah,
ever.
that was so funny. What was he
Matt
doing?
Damon. This
That movie
is.
stands the test of time. I saw it not long ago, and it's still
I
funny.
fucking love that movie when the guy gets ass
Fiona.
raped by Xena, the warrior princess. Like, wow.
The safe word.
Did you see the safe word?
Slogan.
He's like, oh, come on.
You know, the worst part is that I don't know that I would have left if I would have seen Xena wanting to ass rape me.
You know, yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah,
Let's talk.
Is
Let's
that-
try to
that's
figure
your-
this
that's your
one out.
freebie? That's your cheat.
No. It's just back
Guys,
in
we're
the
talking
days,
about
man.
Euro Trip for the audience. That's so funny, dude. It is such a funny movie with such a catchy tune. You know, Vinnie Jones is in it, right, as a soccer hooligan.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
It's-
He's
yeah.
awesome with that.
This is a
This-
membership bar.
Yeah.
The greatest football team in the world.
Pretty good.
Manchester United.
Pretty damn
If you-
boys.
Guys, if you guys just joined, this was not on the topic to talk about at all.
Sure, a picture again, please.
Fan of I'm a big fan of Eurotrip, and the fact that she kisses her twin in that movie is just fucking hilarious. That whole movie is brilliant. I fucking love that show. But all to say that
How did she
I don't
die?
know how to pronounce her name properly. Michelle Trachtenberg. It just been announced that she died. I don't have a lot of details right
And
now.
if your girlfriend made you watch Gossip Girl like mine did, she's also in that show. She made me.
Yeah,
Quote,
you're
unquote,
right.
made me.
Yeah.
Oh no,
No
not
cause of-
again.
No cause of death was immediately disclosed. But all to say that she passed away. I don't know how good she was as an actress, but I remember her from Eurotrip because that fucking movie was
39 years
That's
old.
pretty young. I wonder if it's a died suddenly thing or what the deal
Oh, for YouTube purposes,
is there.
this
No
is
one dies suddenly.
satire. Obviously, she died of a overdose.
Old age. She
something.
died of old age.
Obvi-
Natural causes.
Obviously, she died of old age. Obviously,
Mhm. At 39,
Um,
lived a long life.
51.
just wanted to
She
add
was
that
found
because
dead. She was found dead by her mother at around 8 a.m. Wednesday at One Columbus Place, at a 51-story luxury apartment complex in Manhattan. The actress recently underwent a liver transplant, according to
Oh,
sources.
no way.
Her death
There
is
you
not
go.
being investigated as suspicious. That's all they got so far.
yeah, well,
Terrible.
all to say that it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
and
It's weird, right? When you get your childhood crush or just some celebrity that you don't really know, but kind of feels like you maybe do a little. What's the celebrity that affects you the most? The celebrity death, like when Prince died or something like that.
Kobe Bryant, dude.
Ooh, yeah,
The Black Mamba.
Yep.
the mama.
You know why? Because you can hate basketball, but if you bought a ticket to watch the Lakers play, you knew he was going to be there.
Mm.
He wasn't load managing. He wasn't taking games off to conserve his body. Yeah,
A different time, eh?
he's the one. Yeah, he guys like him was the reason why you like the NBA. The Black Mamba, he wanted to be like Mike, and you know what? When you fail at being like Mike, you're still going to be a 5-time champ. You're still going to be a Hall of Famer. That's a hell of a way to fail. There's an old saying, guys. Greatness is man's failure in his pursuit of perfection.
Yep.
I like that.
You know
Cheers
the
to the
one
face.
the one that bothered me, Robin Williams, because he was in all the shows when I was young. I
Mork and Mindy?
absolutely loved him with Matt Damon. As much as I'm not a fan of Matt Damon, but Good Will Hunting is brilliant. The role that he played in that movie
Yeah, I
is
love that.
brilliant. He was great in Patch
Yeah, the shepherd.
Adams.
A lot of those
but
comedians, they're pretty.
explained
They get some
they're
darkness. in them.
depressed. But
That's
they're
where it comes
depressed. You,
from.
you don't get to be that good and be normal. Like you look at great artists, you look at, doesn't matter, they're painters and musicians, they're actors, they're all fucked in the head. They have such big demons.
Yeah.
But that's what makes them so great, is that
Yeah.
they're so challenged by themselves behind closed doors. They're at war with themselves. But that's the one
Yeah.
I would say that
Give me
kind
some
of
more movies.
surprised
What are the
me.
movies? Give me some more movies, Nico.
Robin Williams.
Nick,
hold on,
it's
let
Nico's
me-
turn. Give me some more movies.
Robin Williams.
I liked him in Mork
Oh,
and Mindy. I'm giving away my age.
It
It was a
That was when he
sitcom
first
back in
came
the day
up,
when he
right?
was an
Mrs.
alien from outer
Doubtfire.
space, so became someone's roommate.
Dead Poet Society, Jumanji, Patch
Ooh.
Adams,
Oh yeah.
Night at the Museum, What Dreams May Come. That was good too. Like
Jumanji, bro.
fuck, he was in the original Aladdin.
I
What
do.
the fuck?
Yeah, he was
I
the
don't
genie.
remember that.
He was the genie.
S-
It was a
oh,
cartoon.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course he was. Of course he was. But you know, one that bothers me, he's not dead yet, but to see his decline, I was just talking about that with my wife, is Bruce Willis. That
Yeah,
bothers me to see that he
dementia.
has dementia, because he is an action hero from the 80s, a la Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. You look at fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I grew up watching those guys, and I look at them and I'm like, holy shit, they're
Well,
old.
it
not
reminds
that
you of your
old.
own mortality, right? Like,
Oh,
fuck,
that doesn't
we're gonna
worry
die.
me. It's just I will never see
Kobe
other
did.
movies by Bruce Willis. That's what bothers me, is that I
Yeah.
liked his movies. I like
just-
the type of guy that he is.
I
He's
literally
just-
watched
I
Die
like-
Hard, the whole thing, last night.
Yeah.
I was
Great.
trying
And
to
Die
fall
Hard, the people out there, fuck you. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Fuck off.
Yes. Ask Run DMC. The
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
song in the beginning. No, but Bruce, Rob, I'm gonna let you go. But the thing I liked about Bruce Willis is that there was something romantic about a guy who wasn't endowed with superpowers, a guy who didn't like have all of these muscles, like these ridiculous muscles, or was like part of some special forces. He was someone that looked like us.
Just a
And
normal
if you
guy.
ever watch Die Hard, you cheered for that man to survive. You cheer for him, and every time he evades death, you're clapping in your mind. He was supposed to be dead here. He survived again.
Yeah.
And Die Hard became the measuring stick, or like or how can I say, like a blueprint for like a lot of these good guy, bad guy movies. It
That's
started,
right.
it started with Key Largo with Humphrey Bogart and Edward G. Robbins.
Oh, that's
a little
I'm not
black and
familiar
white
with that
movie.
one.
So
That's before
Die
my
Hard,
time.
there was a correlation between how they wanted to have the good guy, the decisions they make
Yeah.
lead to bad things, but they stick to their virtue. And when you stick to your virtue, you get through it. It's something.
Yes, because up
something
until
that
then,
Nico would
the
appreciate
good
more than
guys
anybody.
were very one-dimensional, right? They were
Yeah.
just the good guys. It was easy.
No, but
for
they
them.
showed you sometimes good guys make bad choices.
Yeah,
but if you
that's
have
what I
a
like about them.
virtue, and
Yeah.
if you stick to your virtue, you'll get out of it. And that's
Which is a
and
great
I
lesson.
guess that's why
man.
Nico likes it, because Nico.
But he was
that's
a man.
Nico's
If
life.
you-
He's a good
but if
guy.
you
that
look
makes
at
bad choices. you
But
know?
Bruce Willis in Die Hard is a father. He's a dude that goes the extra mile, caring for other people. He's not, as you said, he's not genetically gifted. He's not a massive guy. He was not old Navy SEALs guy that just turned out to be there. He was just a police officer trying to do the right thing because nobody else would. That's it.
My
That is
man.
what I loved about his
Because
movies.
he's swinging
He's
on a
just-
star. Yeah.
I
It's
don't
funny
give a
too,
fuck
eh,
who
when
you
you-
are. You look at Bruce Willis in Die Hard and you're like, yup, he better fucking kill that Russian asshole. He better fucking dip that guy down that building. What was his name? Fuck, I can't remember. But
Alan Rickman. It was Hans.
No, Hans.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4.
but
He
it was
that guy was
just
in Robin
it
Hood,
was
though. He's
just
a great
good.
bad guy.
You know,
He was just good.
yeah, he was the sheriff of Nottingham, right? The
Yeah.
one with Kevin
He's-
Costner.
Alex Rickman was a good
I loved that movie. I loved it so much. I watched it.
So
many
which
times.
one? So let's finish this. Go back to the show, but tell us, Rob, what's your celebrity that died that actually left a hole in your soul?
You know, I mean, I guess I'm not super like celebrity obsessed with culture. I honestly, I'm not to copy, but I feel like Robin Williams is probably I'd probably have to pick it as well. It just seemed like, I don't know. It just seemed like he was a guy that you felt like you knew. He just had that quality in him. I mean, of course you didn't because he's a celebrity, and then you knew also that he was, you know, you knew he struggled a lot. And I think people, even when he was alive, people probably assumed that.
Yep.
But then when he died, I think it sort of, I don't know. It just seems like it humanizes it, right? It's part of the reason I don't really, follow celebrity culture too much is because it's so fake and inauthentic. But when there is a celebrity that sort of cuts through that, I think it does sort of speak to you. Like life is struggle, right? And as men, I think everyone has struggles. Don't get me wrong, women have struggles too, of course. But I think we identify with that. It kind of takes you down because there are times when you get that motivation. But sometimes when you see that it doesn't always work out. It can be, it can hit you, I guess, hard in the feels.
Yeah,
I got one more. I forgot. Death to Smoochie. I need to relook at to rewatch
What's that
that
movie? A Robin Williams movie?
Yeah,
Robin Williams.
it's kind of a play on Barney. It's with what's his name, Edward Norton, and
I really
Rob.
like
From
it.
memory, I haven't seen this movie, and probably it's 2002, and I probably haven't seen it in 20 years. But if I remember correctly, it was along the lines of Robin Williams is he's one of those guys like that has a show that's targeted at kids, like he's trying to be good with the kids, like and then Smoochie, Edward Norton is the new wave of people, but something
Yes,
I can't remember. I just remember that it was good. Like so I should watch it as an adult, because 20 years ago I was a fucking idiot. Actually, one could argue that I still am, but I'm a bit more mature, at least in age.
What were you going to say, Jason?
No, I said a recommendation for Kobe Bryant is a documentary called The Muse, since we were talking about, people that passed away.
He had a pretty interesting life, eh?
His path or whatever, yeah.
Grew up in Europe. His father was military, was it? So he
Speaks
kind of
5 languages. Yeah, he spoke Italian, he spoke Mandarin.
Very introverted.
But he was just brilliant. He was
when they went to
brilliant
Beijing,
and had a
China
capacity to
China already knew.
Yep.
Remember the Beijing Olympics?
Yep.
In China, the guy was a god, more so than any other athlete.
Yep.
Well, he definitely transcended the sport for sure in a way that very few do. You're talking the Michael Jordans, the Babe Ruths, the Wayne Gretzky's.
No, but to me, that's how athletes should be role models.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about their personal life. Stop worrying about who they voted for. If this man's performance on the court can make you walk away from a game thinking you can do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was the Jordan effect. If what Jordan does on the court makes you think anything is possible, that's it. Leave the guy alone.
And there's so much.
Leave the guy alone and let him do what he does best.
Yeah, and there's so much value in that, and that's so much. We've talked a lot about, and we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but just masculinity and what's
as you're going down the rabbit hole.
No, I'm just going to
always do that. Let's not go down the rabbit hole, but let's jump in that rabbit hole.
I'm gonna poke my head down, but I'm not going in it. But what? Just things like I think men need that message. Men need that message to be that, like you said, Michael Jordan, that you can do whatever you want. And it's coming back.
But stop. But you know what I'm saying? Stop pretending these people are supposed to be the role model that you want them to be. They're doing something that might have no logical connection to your career or where you're going, but psychologically is connected, right? Like, I mean, I'm a volleyball coach, but you do not want to hear what I'm saying to myself. Like, when I coach juniors, I have all of my kids. I have 15 kids. I have all of my kids stand over there so they're far away from me. Because let me tell you, this will get me fired. But the last time someone heard what I said, there was a heavyset kid on my team that didn't dive. I said to myself, I bet if there was a fucking cheeseburger down there, you would.
No, you didn't. Oh, shit.
And I looked to my bench. I'm like, cool, nobody heard that, right? But at the very end of the bench, past all the kids, this kid does this.
What?
Yeah, he heard me. Ooh, and it was something. Ooh. Yeah, and when I got a call from some people, some parents and coaches, they're like, you know why we're calling? And I'm like, yeah. And that's why it's my fault for saying it, but this is why they're not next to me. My role model, my function as being your role model or someone you want to be is what I'm doing in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm not a great person. I'm a okay person.
A pretty good.
I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at this. I'll close this conversation with this. If you want to know more about the type of mindset that Michael Jordan had or a Kobe Bryant had, Winning by Tim S. Grover. If you want to get your mind fucking blown, I read this book and I'm like, finally somebody understands. Like that book, as a man, I'm like, yes, that is what it takes. Like that book is fucking amazing. Tim S. Grover, Winning.
Yeah, Winning. Tim S. Grover. Yep.
Before we move on quickly, Nico, I'd like to. I think we missed this comment here from Canada First, but I think that's a really interesting comment just on the Ukraine thing. That deal, it puts U.S. interests right on the Russian border now. And I'd be interested to think what I wonder if Putin has anything to say about that.
That's a good point. We'll see, but Trump was meeting with Putin last week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the deal. I
Well,
would
and
not
you
be
know,
surprised if that's part of the deal. And like Jason said, maybe when Zelensky shows up to the White House, Putin just happened to be there eating a Putin.
With a
Right?
big
We don't
smile
know.
on his face.
well, I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
if America has $500 billion in infrastructure and mining equipment there, that's the same as having a military base there,
Oh,
as
yeah,
far
100%.
as
100%.
protecting its interests. Ukraine will be
100%.
protected.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
all,
gonna-
and that's what they want. And
Yeah.
and all Russia wants is for everybody to stop inching.
Maybe that's the compromise. You stay out of Russia.
But
We
this is where
invest
everybody's
so much.
happy. Stay out of
Yeah.
Russia's business. You know
Smart.
what I'm saying? I'm not. I hate to make accusations. We know Russia didn't blow up their own pipeline. We let's
Yeah,
call it what it is.
yeah.
The new economic sanctions.
You don't need to
weren't
know
working.
anything
Okay.
else, right?
Okay, hold on.
Yes, you got one
YouTube,
too. But we know
Jason's full of shit.
economic
He
sanctions.
doesn't know what
weren't
he's
working
talking
on the
about.
country.
Yes, of
You
course.
know?
We all know Russia blew up their own
Let's-
pipeline.
I listen. I have friends, or I made like casual friends with people who were supposed to be in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Like Russia, Krasilnikov and Stoyanovsky won the silver medal in 2000 in the Tokyo Olympics. They weren't allowed to go to the Olympics this year, right? And I'm like, what
Dumbest
the hell?
thing.
Where the self-righteousness come from?
Mm.
We invaded Iraq, right? LeBron still got to go to still got to go to Greece.
Yeah, you're right. And
Right?
it's like you said, you got to talk to your enemies too, even if you disagree with them, especially if you disagree with
should.
them, right?
Yeah.
And there
this is where Nico offers a really good human perspective. Sorry, Rob.
I was just gonna say, sport transcends boundaries.
Mhm. Yeah.
But not only that, but this is the fact that we don't want to talk to our enemies translates directly in the way we handle conflicts within our own culture. We see the opposite side as enemies and we won't
Yeah.
talk to them.
That's a
So
great point.
CNN's gonna have Gabbard on, right?
yeah,
Why is it only Fox News? CNN
Hey,
should have Gabbard.
you know
on.
exactly why, because she's gonna sound way too fucking intelligent. She's gonna make way too much fucking sense, and people
Yeah.
might actually start liking her.
She also might have a set of rules. Like you're not going to ask
Oh,
me
yeah.
a 2-minute question and interrupt me 10 seconds in, and then say
Yeah, no,
time's
that's
up.
true.
Yeah,
Right?
she won't
Yeah,
put up
you
with
know-
that
you
shit.
know, you're not gonna.
No.
I call it anchoring someone. You're not gonna anchor
yeah.
someone. Like Matt Taibbi
No.
got anchored hard by Mehdi Hassan, and
Kiki,
when
hold
that
on, hold on.
when that was over.
Rabbit hole. We
Yeah.
40 minutes in. We still have 2 videos to go. I'm even cutting one because you guys won't shut the fuck up. So let's
That's what they come here
let's
for.
get. I can't go to the video you gave me about that journalist in Canada. Let's talk about it tomorrow because it's
Yep,
serious.
we'll do that tomorrow. That's all
Now
good.
we've been fucking around about. We were more in a playful note, so we'll keep it that way. I'm just gonna play a portion of the clip to put it into context, but I wanted to give an update on that woman from Idaho that got escorted out the town hall. This is the person we're talking
You're
about.
not smart enough to know that. You're just crazy people. And what we're doing right now is just pausing. Get them out. If you can't be civil, get out.
So as you see, she's gonna get escorted out, blah blah blah. She's gonna act like a fucking child and drop to the ground. Ah, don't hurt me. And see, look at that. This is fucking hilarious, right? So it turns out that she got escorted, and it came out since yesterday that the woman, and I'm not gonna tell her name because I don't want to give her more credibility or anything. I'm just gonna say that crazy woman from Idaho, but let me share my screen. I found an article because I posted about this yesterday, and this is what's great about having followers. Somebody reached out to me and they're like, did you see the update? I'm like, oh fuck, what again? What the fuck happened? So it turns out that not only did she bite one of the security agent that was escorted out, she was able to get their license removed. So that private security firm no longer has a license to operate because of that incident. And if that was not enough, they started a GoFundMe for her with a $30,000 goal that has reached more than $245,000 as per yesterday.
That crazy woman?
So, yes. So basically, like we were saying, like I said yesterday on the show, for years, conservative voices like mine have been banned on social media. As I was saying that, I got fucking banned on my live on TikTok as we were talking about this, funny enough. But people like me got banned, never got our accounts back. We got our we got our conferences canceled because people didn't want to hear us. And we've been escorted from meetings like this. Video after video after video of people. The only difference, people, when they were asked to leave, you know what conservatives did? They actually fucking left. We didn't act like victims, like, oh, we didn't deserve it. No, we knew exactly what we were doing. We were there to fuck shit up, and that's what we did. But when security went to us and said, you know what, it's time for you to go, what did people do? They left. And now we have a woman that screamed at a speaker during a town hall that interrupted everybody, that was asked politely to leave. She didn't. So they escorted her out. She bit one of them. They now lost their license to operate, and she made more than 245 grand. When will we stop having such a double standards for fucking woke Karens like her and treat everybody the same? Because I don't remember people being outraged by conservatives being kicked out of speaking events and town halls. Now, if you look at Thread, you look at TikTok, it's covered in videos of people calling her like she's a victim when she deserves what happened to her. We should find a way to be able to speak to each other without having to act like children like that. But at the same time, you don't get to censor people for years and then act like a victim when the behavior you started is now biting you in the ass.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just, it isn't shocking that a lone person somewhere acts like an idiot. I guess I'm a little disappointed that you've got enough support out there on the broader left that she's raising $250,000. To me, that just shows there's a whole lot more work to be done. I mean, she didn't get kicked out anything for her politics because she was being an obnoxious twat. She was screaming at someone talking, and I don't care about your politics. If you're just gonna be rude and obnoxious, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? And then to turn that into some political persecution complex. I mean, it is what the left is built on right now, right? Victim complex. Everyone loves to be a martyr. And unfortunately, when you see that kind of money, people are going to start to just do that intentionally. But again, culture change is hard. It takes a long time. All we can do, as for those of us on the left, just keep speaking out about it. Eventually it will sink in, I believe. I believe in the end, things tend to revert to the common sense position. Now, it might take a very long time, but we'll get there.
All right. So
sorry. Just before you go, I want to apologize. I lied. As per 24 hours ago, they raised $295,308. So I'm sorry, it wasn't 245, it's 295. So and that was 24 hours ago. So
crazy.
There we go.
Listen, that's a hell of a bite, isn't it? Well, I'd like to start with just reminding everybody what the First Amendment is. My friends are Canadian, I'm American, right? The First Amendment is there to protect your free speech against government persecution. Now, anything that goes beyond that, I think people need to understand that free speech is not a dull butter knife, but a double-edged sword, right?
That's a good point.
So if someone says, I
100%.
fuck off, it's my right to tell you to fuck off. It's their right to tell you to go fuck yourself, right? You can go fuck yourself too. So free speech begets free speech. Now, with that being said, at these events where they're trying to allow you a platform to speak of or talk or even disrupt, I'll go level one, talking, cool. 2, disrupting. I like that because sometimes if someone's not letting you talk, you have to disrupt. 3, this is where the hard stop happens, where all 3 of us agree. If someone's like, I'm sorry, you got to leave, then you leave. You know why? Because that woman would have gotten more street credit because she was being filmed anyway by getting up and saying, yeah, I'm leaving. And I made my voice heard and everyone heard it, and fuck off for not letting me be heard, right? I don't like the shouting down of people, right? There. I'll give you 2 journalists I respect. There was Anthony Blinken, right? Got shouted down by a reporter saying, how does it feel to be a genocide? Or how does it feel to be financing, taking money from AIPAC and financing Israel for blah, 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 right? And he wouldn't shut up. Blinken couldn't get a word in. So 4 guys, one arm, one leg apiece, carried him out. And then 5 minutes later, Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone, a killer, just a fucking savage journalist who I like and respect very much, just kept, it was like he knew he was going to get kicked out too, and just started rolling off as much as he could. And he walked with them. Like he wasn't like, they didn't have to forcibly remove him, but he was getting as much in on the way out. And I'm like, sometimes if you lose decorum, we're stuck between a crossword. If you lose decorum, that's the only thing anyone's going to remember, and not the message, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need a Malcolm X with people to appreciate Martin Luther King, right?
That's a great point.
Did Martin Luther King not try it the nice way, the peaceful way? Did he not get his head beaten?
You almost need that first, right? To say it didn't work.
And then when you got Malcolm X saying, "Go ahead, take a shot at me. I got a gun too," right? And what's the first thing they say after that? Why can't you be more like Martin Luther King? Yeah. So I understand that you need some radicalism and you need some civil unrest, which is protected under the First Amendment. And I understand that you got to be escorted out, and being escorted out is good, but you have to challenge. You have to make a decision. Is my message going to be overshadowed by me losing my a certain level of decorum?
Yeah.
Right. Is anyone just going to see this and just see noise? And not
which is what we saw.
This is where this chick lost. Look, she won. She's going to laugh all the way to the bank, because by the time this podcast is over, Nico's going to check again, and she's going to hit 300. She's going to hit 300K, right? But can anyone in this panel right now understand what her message was?
No. I asked Nico. I was like,
what was she?
I was like, Nico, what?
You don't
yesterday
know.
When he showed me, I was like, so what was she actually going on about? I was like, fuck, I don't know.
For that. Usually, you could look at the videotape and go back and find out. We went to the videotape. We still don't.
We looked for the videotape, but I don't have a VCR to play it. So just saying. The thing is, what bothers me, and another thing that bothers me about this, is that there's have been time and time again where people have opened GoFundMe accounts to get help. They were conservative and they got shut down. GoFundMe shut down their account, saying, nope, we're not allowing this on our platform. And they did that to the Freedom Convoy in Canada. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They actually, so this is the thing again.
Called them anti-vaxxers.
Yeah. And I was there. You know what? To all the people out there, I was fucking there. I was part of that protest, and it was not what was portrayed on the news. It was a massive party with Black people, Native people, Indian people, white people. Everybody was getting along. It was awesome. The only assholes that were there is the police that showed up to arrest everybody.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, 100% of the American truckers were fully vaccinated. Sorry, Nico.
Yes,
I just want everyone to know that 100% of the American truckers were fully vaccinated. So they're not anti-vaxxers. You couldn't get over the Canadian border from the USA to Canada. So stop with the anti-vax bullshit. Nico, I'm interrupting you again. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's just to show that not only does that woman get different, she get a different type of treatment where people are praising her for being a hero. If you go on her GoFundMe page and you start just scrolling why people are giving her money, we're 100% with you, and all the bullshit that you can imagine. And you know what? It's their money. They can do whatever the fuck they want. That's your money. That's fine. No problem. But then why is GoFundMe allowing this when clearly she was the disruptor, and you have people that were protesting in Canada legally and they get their accounts shut down because the government tells them to? This is the bias that I'm tired to see, just like the bias that we were talking about earlier with trans in the intelligence at the NSA. Same thing. This is just what I'm tired of seeing. If you're going to rip into people, rip into everybody the same. Stop being so biased. And just to kind of make a point here, but what can you explain what you have to say in like 2 minutes, or you're going to?
I'll leave you with this question: Aren't we looking at an overwhelming contradiction? Because you're saying it's the woke left, but the truckers was bipartisan, right? Max Blumenthal, the Gray Zone, is left leaning, and the guy that got kicked out.
No. Okay. It was not bipartisan. That's bullshit. So
you're saying the trucker protest was right wing?
Oh fuck yeah! Oh, absolutely, very
that
right.
was always my. That was
I
always
defer
my
to you
impression
guys,
of
the
it.
Oh no,
Canadians.
no, 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 100%. Well, hold on. Let's put it into perspective. It was right leaning for Canada. It would have been a centrist movement in the US. It was not, you can't, we have the tendency to compare Republicans to conservatives in the US, and like the American Republicans versus the US, the Canadian conservative, they're not the same. Our conservatives in Canada are as leftist as Democrats in the US. They're not aligned at all. So they were more libertarian. That's what they wanted. They wanted to be left alone. They wanted to stop the lockdown, stop with the forcing vaccination, let us go back to a fucking normal life and stop getting involved in our lives. That's basically what the message was.
But
So they weren't right leaning, but they weren't woke either. Like, you didn't see any woke people there, but they were common sense people that were tired of the lockdowns, because by then we knew they didn't work. That's the thing, right? It's not like they didn't give it a chance for almost a year. It's just we're in 2022 and we're like,
let me tell you something. The only reason why I even knew about the truckers protest, the Jimmy Dore show, right?
Yeah.
Russell Brand, a Black Revolutionary Network, Sabrina Salvati,
but there's common sense people on the left.
All left-wing
all of these are
coded
leftist
people,
organizations.
But
now,
they are still common sense on the
know
left.
the distinction between the DNC and leftists.
Yeah.
Or just between the woke and left, like even the woke and leftists. Like there's even a bigger no, but that's how they're called. So I'm again, I'd be the first one to say that there's still common sense people on the left.
But that's the only reason why I even knew. The only reason why I even knew the truckers protest was from people who lean left. And again, I'm not talking about the DNC. The DNC tells you what you want.
Agreed.
Right?
100%
The DNC, I just qualified them because they didn't even have a primary. They didn't want a primary, and when they realized they should have had a primary, well, they have always realized that they selected their own person. So I'm not. They voted fucking people off the ballot. That's not. These are not Democratic Party people. You don't vote people off the ballot and then sue to keep people on a ballot. That's you're taking away the rights of the American voters. How's that democratic? They just need to hit the reset button, because Buttigieg ain't gonna beat Vance. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah. Just needs to start from scratch. Just tear it all down.
He ain't gonna beat Vance.
No, come on, no, fuck no.
But I think
it'll be like.
But it's already happening. It's already happening. Like, we're already starting to see this, and I think the next video I wanted to go into is going to be a replay from yesterday, just again to put perspective to this. But it's already starting to happen. Like, no matter what, culture is starting to shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Politics is downstream of culture in that regard.
100%.
The elites and the DNC, they just don't know that the ground is shifted beneath their feet, and it already has in many ways, and it will continue to do so. And I think, the only way to get through to them is just devastating losses at the voting booth. And I don't think that, the Kamala's loss was enough. They're still able to say, oh, it's just a one-off. Surely there's no way that people could actually like Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah.
And some of them are saying it's rigged.
Yeah, fucking nonsense.
They're not saying it's rigged.
I think it's going to require the absolute spanking that J.D. Vance is going to give them in 2028 before they
won't have Trump anymore. What will be their excuse? Nico, he's right. Because with Trump gone, because right now they're just saying, right? They're just saying, make sure this Trump thing doesn't happen again. But when Vance loses, what's going to happen to that party?
Well, and especially when it's specifically Vance, who's the epitome of normal, sort of just common sense guy. Remember when he got first picked and the left went with, oh, these guys are weird. That was
weird.
Oh, they're so weird.
He's
so weird.
Called Trump Adolf Hitler, and he's his VP. Of course, he's weird.
But you listen to Vance talking, like, this is the most normal fucking guy I've ever seen in my life. There's nothing weird whatsoever.
But you got Timmy Tampon calling somebody weird. I'm like, bro, Timmy Tampon. Let's play this video, because I know you guys are gonna go on a fucking tangent on this one. So let's get it out of the way. But let me show the video, then I will show you an actual update, the person that's gonna be next, and then you guys can rip into it. So that's what this video is from 2 days ago. To put some context to it, is Rachel Maddow complained when Joy Reid got fired This is what she had to say.
An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got count them, two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not.
So obviously, just like Joy Reid, she called racism right off the bat. And turns out this is the part I found was fucking hilarious. So this morning I was trying to look because I was like, I called it on the show yesterday, right, Rob? That she should have shut the fuck up because you're pretty much exposing yourself at this point. Turns out that her team's gonna get fucking fired. They're getting Rachel Maddow's staffer to be laid off as part of MSNBC's production cuts. They will continue with her show 5 days a week until April, when she's done the coverage of President Trump's first 100 days in office. Then it's going to go to only Mondays. So turns out that most of her staff is going to fucking lose her job.
I wonder if that would have happened. I wonder if that would have happened if she didn't say that. You think she's biting the hand that fed her a little bit too many times?
Well, or it's either that,
or you think this is already in the works.
You know, this is the thing. If you look at a woman like Joy Reid, that's been playing the race card for 5 years, that the only reason she had such a big salary at $3 million a year on one of the biggest mainstream media outlet out there is because she was black. They wanted a token black girl on their show. And that's the only reason she kept her job for so long, because her ratings have been in the toilet for at least a year, as per the numbers that I've seen. If that would have been anybody else, they would have fucking got canned a long time ago. Now, if you're somebody that's always playing the race card, it's going to stop working after a while. And the same thing I think is happening to Rachel Maddow. I'm ready to bet that her ratings are going down too, because there is a culture change going on right now. It's been happening for 6 months to a year. Like, remember, they were saying that they lost 61% of their viewership at 7 p.m. prime time for the people between 25 to 54. 61% since the election. That's insane. If you're a private business, you're looking at those numbers, you're like, tabarnak, what the fuck? We need to figure out what the hell's going on and change this. Figure it out. That's why they have a new president at MSNBC, and she's a white woman, so they can't call sexism. They'll probably call racism again. But the point in the matter is that if all you got is catering to race baiters, it's going to stop working at one point. And I don't think that it was planned. I just think that it's a private business, and they're like, you know what? You're not bringing in the numbers. Like any show, after a while, it stops working. When you're always trying to do the same thing over and over again, people, no matter what it is, forget the race part. If you have a show on TV, like Big Bang Theory being a perfect example, one of the most successful fucking show on TV in ever. Why do you think it ended? Because people are tired of seeing the same fucking joke repeated over and over. And that, to me, that's just what it is. But culture, unlike the Big Bang Theory, had nothing to do with culture. Now you're looking at those people that are always complaining when they're making $3 million a year. Maddow, has $5 million a year contract for 5 years. So cry me a fucking river.
Yeah. Rob, may I?
No, yeah, you go ahead, Jason.
You know why? No,
Since you've got some.
since he said Big Bang Theory, I have a message for everybody that think this is racism. Penny. Penny. It's one of my favorite lines when he knocks on the door.
Penny,
this is your wake-up call, okay? The reason why people think there's a racial element is that there's this historical or this correlation that everybody that spoke out for Gaza against Israel happened to get fired, and almost all of them were black, right? Lamont Hill got fired from CNN, and right now he's on YouTube still standing down on that, right? Breonna Joy Gray got fired from the Hill. Mehdi Hassan, who if you ask which way you want his spine to flex, he'll beat Kamala at a blackness contest. You want him to be black tomorrow. He had better ratings than Joy. And the reason why I think this has less to do with racism is because a few years ago, there were some tweets that came out that were extremely homophobic against homosexuals and gay people. And then instead of apologizing, she said her account was hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Her account was hacked, and everybody knew that was bullshit.
Excuse
and,
du jour,
and if you want to talk about race, we all know if that person was a white man, he would have got fired, right? So I think in some ways her blackness might have saved her job because she already replaced a black person for her segment. People forget that. And Al Sharpton, they moved Politics Nation, which was a 6 o'clock show, to Saturdays, right? And then you just fire Mehdi Hassan over his comments about Gaza. Well, first you shelve him so people say we don't want to talk that shit, right? So I would say that has less to do with racism, right? Don Lemon, they said it's about racism, but at the end of the day, Don Lemon was losing ratings, and Nico brought on something very, very, very important. MSNBC during an election year, their ratings went down when election years, particularly against a Republican candidate you desperately want to beat, and you desperately want to hear someone say it. The truth be damned. Okay, those are supposed to go up, and that's not what happened. 2, Rachel Maddow. Her star power goes a long way that allows her to say that. For a long time, Tucker Carlson and her were the number 1 and number 2. And to be the number 2 viewed show on a defunct network where everyone's watching no other host, she basically carried the water. Her contract's not yearly; it's paid by the day. So if she took a cut and pay, she didn't take a cut and pay is because she's doing less days.
She gets paid every single day.
She's making $34,000 an episode. So
and it gets input into her bank account every day.
Now here's the third one, and this is why I wanted to go before Rob.
Yeah.
If this is her bestie, and if this is someone that she that she respects more than anybody else, why didn't she? And if it's really about money and making cuts, why didn't she restructure her contract to save? She's already rich, right? The second question is, if she feels that strongly about it, why didn't she put her own reputation on the line and threaten to quit?
Yeah.
Because out of all of the anchors right now that are selling their ass on YouTube because they can't hack it anymore, like Don Lemon, right? In theory, he should have got a news gig immediately. He didn't. Chris Cuomo was the only one that survived that, right? So why didn't you quit knowing that CNN would fucking pick her up? They put her on the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock show, East Coast time. They put her on that show so fucking fast your head would spin. She had leverage, and she didn't do it, and she didn't do it because she was in on it.
Ooh, some intrigue, some palace intrigue. Do you mean like she has been in on it, as in she kind of knew about it and didn't say anything, or do you mean she actually had a hand?
She knew about it, and she's a fucking phony.
Yeah, and you're right.
She's a fucking phony. She knows she can cry on request. Do you remember the kids in cages?
Yeah.
When they said Trump was putting kids in, oh my God, can we go to commercial? I can't do this now. I can't do this now, right? And then 10 minutes later, Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone and Aaron Mate said the pictures of those cages were from 2014. Right? And Trump wasn't in office 2014. Tears gone. Phony.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, if she actually cared about what she was saying, if she actually believed it, she had leverage to do something, and she chose not to. And I think that's what people are really getting sort of just annoyed with. And so, like, you know, it's not that people don't care about racism. Of course we do. It's just we're sick of being told that racism exists everywhere. And that actually hurts, you know, the fight against racism. Because when that still exists. Real racism still exists, and you need to be able to speak about it. And if everything that is fucking racist, because you've brought it into every single context and conversation, people are just going to tune you out. And I think that's what people are sick of, is just this sort of performative, fake, inauthentic people performing virtue, performing, anti-racism or whatever when it suits them, but they clearly don't give a shit. And it's just the whole left as a whole, as a movement right now, just feels like it's on life support. Like it's just hollowed out. It just feels fake. And I mean, me and you, we're both, liberal, or maybe, I don't know if you consider yourself liberal, but certainly leftist, left leaning. It's there's real values there. We can salvage something, but we have to cut a whole lot of fat. There's a whole lot of, and that's why I think part of my job on this show is to attempt to start the conversation where we just got to fucking go in with a scalpel and start cutting shit, because there's a whole lot of garbage. Just take it piece by piece. Do we like this? Let's keep this. Let's throw this out. Let's keep that. Because it's a hollowed out. So there's no moral high ground for the left right now, and it's a movement built on moral high ground. So I mean, that's a major problem.
And Rob, the question.
Just look at the screen. But just look at the screen right now.
Oh my God!
I found the perfect example for you.
That shot is fucking priceless, by the way. Look.
Oh, that one.
Yes, that is priceless. Listen,
this meme is awesome. This meme is awesome.
In this conversation, racism did have to come up, because there's a minority of black journalists in the last 2 years. 50% of them, right, percentage wise, they're the ones getting fired for mistakes or bad ratings. So
okay, and that's fair.
Why are fucking black people the only ones getting fired? So I'm not saying this was racism, because I explored, and I think Nico will appreciate this. You have to explore, for people that think it's racism. If you're dismissive, they're still going to think it's racism. But if you say, okay, you think it's racism, okay, let's talk about that. And that's what you and I just did right now. We talked about it, and we talked about instances where I suggest her race saved her job. Don Lemon tipped off the police. The Justice Smollett, remember that fucker? Justice Smollett. Don Lemon tipped off the Smollett that the cops were investigating him the first thing tomorrow morning, which is fucking illegal. He did that, and he kept his job.
Well, that's insane,
so,
right?
Right. So let's explore, is this about race? And let's go through actual historical context, and then we let the audience decide, walk away, because a lot of people don't know these facts. Nobody knew about the Jesse Smollett thing.
Yeah,
Cuomo lost his job. Cuomo lost his job before Lemon did. So, but the question, why are black journalists getting fired? We have to address that. That's why I put that on Front Street.
But Jason, Rob, as per Rob and the libs of TikTok, you can't claim racism, because supposedly that the next anchor for MSNBC is this guy. So I'm just putting it out there.
That's Simone's.
No, they didn't.
So
MSNBC has no fucking clue what's going on, right?
Before we jump to conclusion, let's just assume. Can you imagine a black dude in a dress replacing Joy Reid?
They
so look about the same, actually.
It's so funny, because like you see the Joy Reid thing, and I think, at least I think a lot of people had thought, like, okay, like there is this vibe shift, this culture shift. Perhaps MSNBC is glomming onto that fact. They realize there's not as much market for like people who are, obviously there's definitely space to be talking about racism, but maybe not less people who are going to inject it into every single conversation. And then they go in this case, and you're like, okay,
that's what she really looks like. So what's worse, the parody of Nico Lagan, or what Simone Sanders really looks like?
Who the fuck is that? Who's that?
Simone Sanders.
That's her replacement, Simone Sanders.
Oh, did they actually?
Yeah. So, well, they're going to be 3 people: Simone Sanders, Menendez.
Simone Sanders replacing Joy.
Does the name Menendez sound familiar to you?
There
was a politician that got arrested for having gold bars and like committing fucking fraud and getting money from foreign agents. A New Jersey fucking senator.
The senator. Yeah. He's in jail now.
These guys, right? His daughter's going to be the new host.
No way.
Those are the guys, right?
This shit up.
Just it's
Those
so
are those are the guys.
incestuous. The media and corrupt politician. You know, the Venn diagram is a circle.
The daughter Menendez. If the name sounds familiar to everybody listening, her father is the one that got arrested, busted with wads of cash, gold bars in his fucking house.
Motherfucker's got sacks with dollar signs on them.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is 10 years.
So these are the people you're talking about: Melendez, Alicia Melendez on the left, Michael Steele in the middle, and Simone Sanders out.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. They're replacing one black girl by another bald black girl, so they're staying on the same team.
Yeah.
They have a black guy, and then they have an Hispanic woman. So maybe it's not about maybe it's not about racism. Oh shit! Yeah. There's a
that'll knock out your sound.
Yeah. Go your sound there.
There you go. Sounds back.
Yeah, gotcha.
Sounds back. Well, there you go. We are. Anything else to add? We got 9 minutes left, but I'm good with ending it here. Anything else you guys want to share?
I want to reiterate to you guys, and I said it before, but it's worth echoing the sentiment. Before we dismiss it as race baiting, examine it. Because it's better to examine it, talk about it, and then you might change some minds, right? Because if you just say you're a race baiter, they're going to leave still thinking it's racism. You're still going to leave thinking it's race baiting, and there's no engagement, right? So the common denominator is engagement, which supersedes racism.
For sure. And I think, honestly, I think probably we can split the difference on that, and maybe the best place to meet is in the middle, where at the same time, rather than assume everything is racism, perhaps, people who might go that route also want to take a minute to sort of, for example, Rachel Maddow, instead of just assuming that this is racism, maybe she should have taken a step back and thought about it. Now, if she thinks about it and she still thinks, yeah, this is racism, then by all means bring it up, because there's space for that. I want to hear that, right? But I for the most part, it doesn't feel like that's what's going on. It feels like it's a knee-jerk reaction. It gets lazily thrown out there, and I don't think that's productive or helpful whatsoever. And I agree too. We shouldn't just automatically assume every accusation about race is race baiting. And I mean, if I gave that impression, then I didn't express myself well, because that's not how I'm fully aware of racism.
Fucking racist.
No, but you can introduce something I call offsetting penalties. For example, I had an argument with someone. This woman, it was like, anyone that thinks Kamala didn't win the president, or that her being a woman of color didn't come into play of her losing the president, is not worth talking to. That's what she said to me. And I told her, I said, before you go, consider this. How many people voted for her because she's a woman of color? How many people voted for her because they thought she was occasionally black, right? So you got to understand what offsetting penalties are. Barack Obama, right? How many people I lived in Harlem. Look, there are white people like, oh my God, the issue spoke to me and I'm voting for the issues. No, not the brothers. They're like, yo, he's black, I'm black, we vote for that guy, right? But consider this. How many people voted against Obama? How many protests in front of the White House did you see signs that say put the white back in the White House, right? So there has to be an argument I call offsetting penalties, and to what degree. There are more people that voted against Hillary because she's a woman than the number of people that voted for her because they wanted to see a first woman president. This is where engagement comes in, and maybe you can, if you got good debate skills, and maybe if they can listen to all of 2 words, they can leave at least raising a question. We know, again, Nico show, this isn't about spoon feeding you how the woke left is bad and what you're supposed to hear. No, Nico introduces facts. We take the facts and we try to decide what happened, and you decide for yourself what happens. And this is why it is my honor, duty, and privilege to be on the show.
Well, we'd love to have you.
Love having you on, bro.
It's always great.
Love to have you on. It's the only way that it's fair. I can 1 against 1 is not fair. So 2 lefties against me is fair.
Yes. Of course.
You got me, man. I love my guns and my gay people. I'm the black guy with the white wife and a Latino nanny.
You know what? I love guns and I love hunting gay people. Is that not what you just said?
What?
I love guns and I love hunting gay people. 'Cause that's
Hunting.
what I
I
heard.
love my guns and my gay people.
I know.
likes hunting.
I'm
In
just.
fact, there should be a gay ass Smokey the Bear with saying only you can prevent a hate crime instead of forest fires. It should have him with a big ass AR-15 because Smokey the Bear's already jacked. You ever seen the Smokey the Bear guy? He's definitely California.
No.
That dude's in shape.
I don't remember Smokey.
Okay, you know, only you can prevent
Smokey
forest
the Bear
fires.
is
He's the-
only you could prevent forest fire things. Smokey the
No,
Bear.
he's a bear. It's old school.
Yeah.
It's the old school one I thought,
He's a
but
hairy. Yo, he's your kind of
I-
guy. He's hairy and he fucking works out.
you know, man, I want to check it out because the only role that hasn't been redone to a black guy is Tarzan. So I had to make sure that wasn't the case here.
I
And
saw that meme.
that's
I-
the role that should be redone. Come
Oh,
on.
I saw that. I saw that. I saw that
One
meme
white
the other
motherfucker
day.
goes to the jungle.
Hollywood has never done
Swinging
him.
on, hold on a second. Swinging on grapevines, hollering shit.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's
One
it.
guy lived in
That's
the jungle
why.
all his life and couldn't say hello to a motherfucking monkey. But
Hollywood
we
has
got a white
never.
guy coming to the jungle just taking over shit with 2-bedroom apartments on his back.
But come on, man, Hollywood will never allow a black guy to become
In a
Tarzan
movie,
because
acting
who
like a
wants to
monkey
be
swinging around?
exactly the black monkey dude? Yeah.
There won't be a black
Yeah.
exorcist either. Like, remember that exorcist? Some stupid white bitch get attacked by the devil, right?
Yeah,
Come on, that you can't fucking have a black kid get possessed, and you can't have the devil spit on a fucking black mama. You spit that green shit on a
Fuck
black
yeah.
mama, that'll be it for her and the fucking devil both.
yeah. She don't care how.
Black men
pissed
will be like,
they
"You've been fucking with the Mexicans, right?"
are. Yeah.
But it's okay to have a black woman play Jesus. Don't worry about it, bro.
No, that's historical. That's ridiculous. I don't
Yeah.
like when you're talking about historical pieces and you're trying
Yeah.
to get the character,
I love it.
that best
I love it.
depicts the person.
Yes.
I don't mind an Arabic Jesus because in the Middle East,
But that would make sense.
everybody's
Come on
dark.
now.
Ain't nobody white,
Come
right?
on.
Everyone is
Come on. You,
like
you
the
can
Bible
get
said his feet were bronze and his hair was
yeah,
gold.
but
That doesn't mean
you know,
he's black. He could be Arabian.
Yeah.
you can get all. It's like you look at Italy, for example. You can get a guy that's fucking dark as hell, and then you get somebody that's white with blue eyes. You get a span, and that's what it was. But to say that he was a white guy with green eyes, chances are that was not the fucking case. To say-
Malcolm X. See how
yeah.
Democrats feel about that.
Oh, see, exactly. Oh, you didn't hear? I've just been cast as Malcolm X. You didn't
Well,
hear?
could you imagine though? A white
You have
guy.
more in common with him than the Democrats do.
Tattooed on his hand.
You have more in
But
common with Malcolm X than most Democrats do. How about that?
yeah, well,
Recognize you know why? You recognize the difference between the wolf and the fox. The wolf,
brother.
you see him coming. The fox is the one that pretends to be your friend, shows you his
Yeah.
teeth. And that's where
Fox
woke
is way
came
more
from.
dangerous.
Woke
way
came
more
from
dangerous.
watch out for white people who would pretend to be your friend but call you nigger behind your back.
Well,
that's-
isn't when
that's where
Malcolm X
woke
said
actually
that,
came from.
wasn't he referring specifically to
The Democrats.
liberal white people?
Yes, that's why I'm not saying they compare completely, but if you look at that foundational thing of watch out for the wolf and the fox.
Yep.
Hey, Nico, we're all Malcolm X in that respect. Listen, how many guys are old enough to remember the OJ trial?
Okay, hold on.
We'll
We can't go down that road. We have 2 minutes left. I want to show a comment here
No, go
because
ahead.
I'm not sure if I'm getting insulted or is it a
No.
compliment. So you guys are gonna.
got static on your mic. We just didn't correct
So
it.
you're having static like feedback on your mic.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You should have told me.
Yeah, it only happened
You
last
did,
second or two.
You know what? Let's call it a day. Rob, for the first time, close the show.
Well, there. Fuck. I mean, you put me on the spot. I don't know what I'm doing. As
for the
usual,
OJ trial.
Thank you guys for being here, brother. Come on, you can't just throw me on the spot like that. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be here tomorrow at 1 as well. Appreciate.
Okay,
everything you guys-
okay. I'll do it, guys.
All right, do it, man. Like,
For everybody
on the wheelhouse.
Thank you for
You should
being
be
here.
with Jason. Jason's the guy.
No. I thought you were saying I had static on my mic. That's
You
why I
do.
was saying
You
that.
have static now as we speak.
Yeah.
So
Why don't you throw it to Jason?
you-
I'd like to share something for 20 seconds. The OJ trial.
No, we're
When
done.
OJ got
We're done.
acquitted,
We're
Okay.
done. We're done. No, you, Rob, close it because it's not going to be the last time we have technical problems. So go.
All right. Thank you guys for being here today. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with us. Thank you to our friend of the show, Jason. Debulius. I guess I should get that down. It's always Jason D for me, but we'll go with that. And thank you for Nico. Maybe figure out your fucking mic next time, brother. You know, we're trying to be professional here. But we will be here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, 1 p.m. I guess 1 p.m. my time. You guys, it's not noon Eastern time. And I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. But there's a lot of shit to talk about. We got into, there's Canada First. Great show, guys. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We know we love the engagement. We love hearing from you guys. That is why we do it live. You guys make the show sort of fun. You just commenting, engaging with us as we do it. Jason, you got anything to add to that as we go?
No, stay engaged, people. Stay engaged. Always raise the question, all right? And when I say raise the question, don't have a question where there's a calls for conclusion all the time, right? There's always going to be some bias coming into an argument. Be honest about your bias. Be upfront and just listen. You know, one of my challenges is listen to people's whole sentences. So don't be like me.
Yeah, I mean, words of wisdom. Good to end there. We will see you guys tomorrow, noon Eastern time, as usual. Hopefully Nico sorts his shit out then. Now I get to actually shit on him because normally the technical difficulties are on this end. But
since everybody's mic is gone, I will close up the shop. We love you. The American microphone supersedes Canada. We're out.